Easter is a reminder of the greatest victory in history, that through Christ we are renewed, restored, and given new life. At Critical Nutrition Labs, we believe honoring your health is part of honoring Him. Our premium supplements are designed to help you live stronger, longer, and with purpose. This Easter, celebrate renewal. April 3rd through April 6th, take 25% off your entire order with code HEISRISEN25. Visit criticalnutritionlabs.com today.
And now part 2 of our conversation about the inflammation triangle, your gut, brain, and muscle after 40, with muscle building coach Lee Hayward.
You don't have to change it all in one go. You want to talk about that, Lee? Maybe, the baby step approach.
Well, I already kind of touched on it. Like the first step, if someone's not exercising, let's start with that. Like, I don't care. Let's not get bogged down with your calories and your macros and your meal timing and what supplements should you take and hormones no, let's start exercising. Start with that first. I had an interesting conversation this past week. Someone was reaching out to me wanting help with building muscle, losing fat, getting in shape, the typical thing that most guys want to achieve. And we had a conversation, and sure enough, I mean, he's not working out. He's not following any structured eating plan. Like his schedule's all over the place and stuff. He's just like, well, I just need to get in shape. What do I do? And sure enough, I gave him some suggestions like I am now. And then a few days later, he messages me back, should I be taking TRT? What about peptides? What about, all these GLP-1s and stuff like that? And like he starts emailing me like, what should I be taking? I said, like, how about we start with exercise first? How about we start with, the basics? Now, you can't inject yourself into shape, right?
I mean, it's not... you and I are of the same heart and mindset. It's like, I want to do this naturally. I want to do it the way that I know is the right way. And if I need assistance or supplements on some level, like with peptides or whatever, if my T I get my T levels checked and they're ridiculously low, but I've already tried to make adjustments with my lifestyle and that doesn't seem to help it. Okay, then I'll explore that. But that can't be your first move. Your first move has to be smarter food choices and getting better sleep and getting into the gym 3 or 4 days a week and doing these things that, that we know are the right choices, the right moves. What do? We always kind of gravitate for the easy one first if we can. Is there an easier way? Is there a pill I can take? And it's like, no, you can't pill yourself into health. You have to take some accountability with the way you're living your life day in and day out, and at least have some consistency with the exercise side of things, decreasing maybe the caloric intake a little bit. And really, we didn't talk much about sleep, but I wrote down here, I have sleep listed. I have some practical takeaway segment. I want to get to it, but sleep is monstrous. Sleep is like your secret weapon, if you will, for guys. If you want to impact your muscles, you got to focus on your sleep. You talk about that for a second, Lee?
Yeah, I can speak to that from firsthand experience because this is where I really fell off the rails and got the quote unquote dad bod, if you will, after my son was born. And anyone who's had or has a newborn at home.
Shout out to, it's Harvey, right? Your son?
Harvey, yeah.
Shout out to Harvey.
Yeah. But when Harvey was born, my sleep went out the window. And you know yourself as a father. I mean, like when you got a newborn baby waking up in the middle of the night crying, you bottle feeding, diaper changing, and all the added responsibilities, like broken sleep at best. Like, there's sleep was the number one thing that got disrupted. And once my sleep was disrupted, everything else started to crumble underneath. Like my motivation to go to the gym, even if I had the time to go to the gym, is like, I'm too tired to go to the gym because I only slept a couple hours last night. Like, I don't feel like going to the gym today. And then when it came to meal prep, I was like, I don't feel like, cooking and making chicken and vegetables. And like, screw it. I pick up the phone. I'm ordering a pizza.
See?
right? Or I'm going to make a run to the drive-through, or just grab something quick, that I can just heat up in the oven or whatever. Like, when you're fatigued, everything else just crumbles. And of course, that happened to me, and I fell into that trap. And the thing is we've always make these little justifications, right? Because it's like, okay, I had a poor night's sleep. I'll get back on track tomorrow. And then, of course, tomorrow rolls around. Well, I'll get back on track on Monday. And it just, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, I know I shouldn't be ordering this pizza that I'm about to order. I know I shouldn't skip this workout that I'm about to skip. I know I shouldn't do this. I know I shouldn't drink this beer that I'm about to drink, but you do it anyway. And a lot of times it's because you're fatigued. And in that fatigued state, that lack of sleep, you're just so susceptible to making those poor choices. And so, yeah, if you can get well rested, then your brain is fresh, your body is fresh, and you're just in a stronger position. It's like, am I going to make a good meal, or am I going to eat a poor meal? Am I going to go to the gym, or am I going to say, screw it, I'm not going to the gym? Like, it's all these little in-the-moment decisions. It's not something grand or major, or like, oh my God, what did you do? It's, what did you do in the moment, in those little momentary decisions where you can say, hit the drive-through. What's another burger and fries going to do?
That's
or
right.
I'm going to have a chicken and a salad for lunch today, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
You're not clear when you're fatigued, chronically fatigued, and just never getting a deep quality sleep. And you can't just rely on the 1 or 2 days a week on the weekends where you can sleep in or whatever. That ain't going to sustain you. And I'm talking to myself. I have a tendency to stay up a little too late. I'm not doing anything wrong. Sometimes I like to just be on the sofa by myself with the dogs and the cats, and watching like a late night show or something to myself, and just scrolling on my phone or whatever I'm doing while everybody else has kind of already gotten to bed. But I will say this: when my head hits the pillow, I am asleep within a minute or two. I have no recollection. Very rarely lie there kind of like counting sheep or whatever. I say a little prayer, a little gratitude, and I am out. And I sleep heavy. I'm a heavy sleeper. I sleep until the alarm goes off, and I'm up. So if I get just even 6 hours, I'm older. I don't need 8 to 12 hours like kids need. I'm fresh and I feel good. But like we were saying earlier, what's a sleep disruptor? Well, I'll tell you what, eating a bunch of processed crap food before you go to bed, that's a mega sleep disruptor. Or add alcohol into the mix, that's an even worse sleep disruptor. So if your nutrition is after 8 o'clock at night, or you're over consuming alcohol, your sleep quality, it takes a massive decline, even if you go to bed at a reasonable time. And so you wake up feeling not rested, right? You wake up kind of feeling like, oh man, I had weird dreams, or I just feel like I was up a lot, or I was tossing and turning, or I was sweating, and like you don't feel good. No. And so I would look at those two things, like mega caloric intakes and alcohol right before you go to bed. Not helpful. One thing, if you're going to have you could have a little glass of wine or something, that might be okay. But anytime you overindulge, it's a massive sleep disruptor and just messes you up. Because you're putting your digestion, your gut's working overdrive while your body's just trying to, rest. It's just never a good approach. Easter isn't just a holiday. It's the ultimate reminder that no matter how broken things may seem, there is always hope, always renewal, always new life through Christ. He is not here, he is risen. And because of that, we're called to rise too, to live with strength, to live with purpose, and to take care of the body God entrusted to us. At Critical Nutrition Labs, that's what drives everything we do. We've created a full line of premium supplements to support your strength, your energy, your recovery, and your longevity, so you can continue showing up for your family, your mission, and your calling. Because your health isn't just about you, it's about how you serve others. This Easter, step into renewal in every area area of your life. From April 3rd through April 6th, get 25% off your entire order with code HEISRISEN25. That's HEISRISEN25 at criticalnutritionlabs.com. He is risen, and now it's your turn to rise, stronger than ever.
No, I can certainly appreciate that, because I remember, like, back when I was younger and I did drink, and I never was a heavy drinker, but I would drink just to fit in, because you go out to a nightclub or you go to a social event, everybody's like, have a drink. So I would have, literally, I would have a couple beer, like literally a couple beer. That's it, right? But even if I just had a couple drinks, I found my sleep wasn't as good that night. Like, I was restless throughout the night. And I found it even hard to sleep in the next day. I was surprisingly, a night out, I'd be going to bed late and I'd be still getting up the same time the next morning. Like, I couldn't try and sleep it off, so to speak.
Right.
It was just,
right.
And the quality of sleep was just bluff. Like, you wake up the next day, you just feeling tired and dragging your heels. Yeah, it's a major disruptor. And of course, when you have all that, like, of course, alcohol in your system, but the junk food along with the alcohol, it just... Yes. You got gas and indigestion. Your body's trying to break down and process all this. It's disrupting your sleep big time. Yeah. You're not getting.
I want to make one point clear too. Yeah. I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying. And obviously, Lee, you're not even a drinker, so I mean, your decision making is probably always going to be of a sober mind and probably on point.
Or
I still have some drinks. I still have some dumb choices that I will make. Yeah. I am not perfect by any means. I'm saying just on a consistent basis, what is our week looking like? What is our month looking like? You can get away with some outliers. You can get away with a late Friday night out with your buddies on occasion or whatever. You get a date night with your lady, and you kind of go out and you party a little bit, have an extra cocktail, you have desserts. I'm not saying you can't do that stuff. It's what does it look like Sunday to Saturday, week after week, month after month. So the reward days and the cheat meals and whatever, those can come into play now and again, but you got to kind of schedule them in, so to speak. But, I would say 90% of the time, you got to try and have it dialed in and be a little bit mindful of what you're doing. That's really, you can get away with the 10%, and, we're not looking for perfection. You're just looking for consistency. So I wanted to have, and I kind of put this together, basically like a simple blueprint for our listeners. And you can expand on any one of these, Lee, that sounds sensible to you. Let's call it the anti-inflammation muscle blueprint.
There we go.
I know it's a mouthful. We could call it the AIM blueprint. How about that? Anti-inflammation muscle blueprint. So, number one, and it goes right in line with what you said, let's just start with exercise. So the first thing I have is lift 3 to 4 days a week with some smart progressive overload stuff. And so I think it's a great kind of easy, especially for the guys. Most dudes who you talk to, they do like to work out a little bit because men like to feel strong. Mm-hmm. So 3 to 4 days a week of just some smart, and explain to our listeners a progressive overload approach.
Yeah. And I'd even take that another step. Like, for years, I always thought you had to 3 to 4 days a week. Like, that's bare bones minimum. And coming from the bodybuilding background, where it was like 6 days a week.
Right.
Maybe you took a day off. Maybe you still did something on your off day. Like this whole, I got to exercise every day. Like that was the mindset that I went through when I was competing in bodybuilding. It was like every day. And then, thinking, okay, scale back 3 to 4 days a week, which I think is very manageable for a lot of people. But surprisingly, you can make progress with even less than that. Yeah. Like I have some coaching students now, like one guy in particular I'm working with. I've been working with him in the gym in person, like in personal training for the past 2 years. We do 2 workouts a week. That's it. 2 workouts a week. And it's just because of the way our schedules line up. And he's been making progress week after week after week. And it's just incredible to see. And he's not really strict with his nutrition. Like subtly, because he's exercising, he's making some better food choices, as I mentioned before, just the fact that he's exercising. But he's not one like MyFitnessPaling and calorie tracking or none of that shit. He's like, no. If he wants to have his burger and fries, he's still having his burger and fries, right? Or if he wants to have a beer on the weekend, he's having his beer on the weekend. But he's consistent with those 2 workouts a week, right? That's his anchor, those 2 workouts. And we're seeing like strength gains just aggressively going up. And over the last 2 years, I mean, he's dropped 30 pounds. His strength is more than doubled. So like he's so much healthier and in a better position physically and mentally because of those 2 workouts a week. And I mean, it's not a big commitment. Like a lot of people think working out like, oh my, I don't have time to work out every day. You don't have to.
That's right.
That's a prime example. Like if you could just commit to 2 workouts consistently, not 2 workouts like, oh, I'm going to work out twice this week and not the next week, and I'll pick it up the month after. And
no, a good dedicated 60-minute strength training session.
Right, 2 workouts a week, right, consistently, and we do total body workouts, right? So like we're hitting all the major muscle groups twice a week that way. And these, I'll be honest, they are longer workouts because it's abbreviated. Like we're in the gym for about an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. Wow.
Right. So, I mean, he's getting an hour. So he's getting 3 hours of exercise a week, right? In 2 sessions.
Wow.
But it's still the progress that he's made just from those 2 sessions a week. It's impressive. And before that, if somebody said, can I make progress with 2 a week? I'd probably be doubting it. But where I've seen this happen firsthand, I'm like, no, it's absolutely true. You can certainly make progress with just 2 workouts a week. So for all the people out there who are, I don't have time, it's too big of a commitment, like, literally 2 days a week.
Wow.
That's it. I mean, you can make it work.
Do you do some progressive overload kind of with him, or what's your
absolutely.
approach? Okay.
Every like we write down everything, all the exercises, and then when we're cycling through the exercises, we always try to beat what we did the week before and stuff like that. So there is structured progressive overload. In the early phases, it was happening every week. Like adding an extra 5 pounds, adding an extra rep, seeing the volume and then the intensity and just increase week after week. After 6 months, it starts to slow down.
Right.
Now we got to start cycling exercises because like, okay, we're not able to just keep adding another plate on the leg press. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we need to switch things up. So what we do now is we have like an order of different exercises that we cycle through. And then each time we go back to the previous exercise, the way we usually do it, let's just go through the motions for the first workout. The next workout, we'll try and match what you did, your previous personal best. And then the third time through, we'll see if we can hit a new PR.
Awesome.
Right?
That's
So like, we do it in a wave progression.
Yes.
Right? Cycling. So we start low, medium, high, and then drop back down.
It's great. It's very important, I think, to have some type of measurement and to continually trying to, kind of compete with yourself. Is really all this is. It's like, where was my best previously? Can I get a little bit more weight out of it? Can I do a few more reps out of it? Can I get another set out of it? What can I do that just dials it up, even if it's just by the smallest amount? And just manipulating those variables to constantly keep your body. It's an adaptation thing, right? So we're just trying to get the muscles to never quite be happy where they're at. So they gotta try and do better. So I love that, what you said, though, about just the 2 really good intensive sessions a week will get results.
Absolutely. Now, if somebody has more time to dedicate to the gym, that's great. Absolutely. We can dedicate more time.
Right.
But if you are really, truly pressed for time, like work, family, responsibilities, like I'm lucky if I can get to the gym twice a week. Well, hey, you can still make it work.
No doubt.
Right.
So number 2 I have, and this, you mentioned this as well, just walk every day. It's the easiest thing that you can do. Find some time in the morning, at lunch, after dinner, with your spouse, with your dog, with your kids, whatever. Go out and walk. Not only is it just great because that's what the body wants to do, man. The body wants to be vertical and wants to be in motion. That's what it's good for your bones. It's good for your connective tissue. It's good for your circulation. It's great for your digestion. But walking implies that you're outside. Now you're getting fresh air. It also implies if it's daytime, maybe you're getting some sunshine, which we also need. So I walk every day, and I walk my dogs every morning. And it's sometimes it's a little like in Florida, it's cold right now. It was 39 degrees in Florida this morning.
Really?
So yeah. So I'm outside. I got extra layers on and stuff, but the air's crisp, and it's the sun is coming up, and I'm out with my dogs, and it's just me. I don't listen to music. I just look around and look at the birds and enjoy some fresh air. And as aggravating as the dogs can be sometimes or whatever, because of whatever, it's a pleasure to be able to do that. And so I get a good mile long, at least a mile, that I do every single morning. And sometimes we do laps around our facility here. We do a big, giant lap several times a week. And all that extra walking, I just feel like it's just putting extra money in the bank for my health bank.
It's such an underrated form of exercise. Like I know a lot of people think just walking. I mean, come on, like that's not exercise. When I was getting ready for bodybuilding competitions, walking was my primary form of cardio. Right, like I would walk. One of my non-negotiables was to walk an hour every morning.
Wow,
that's what I wanted to do
that's awesome.
When I was in fat burning mode.
Yeah. Well, that's almost like 4. You're probably doing 3 to 4 miles.
Yeah, it was in that range. Yeah. But that was my non-negotiable. Like I said, okay, I want to walk every morning. So just get up, like still half asleep, I'm going to put on sneakers and just get out the door and just start walking. And the thing about it is it's not intense. You're not beating your body up.
Right.
You don't need to warm up to walk. Walking is the warm up. Like you just start moving, right? Like there's no thought process required. But once you start doing it, then again, especially if you're doing it outside, like this could be done on a treadmill. Like if you're in the dead of winter, not fit to be outside when, weather-wise, whatever, sure, you can do it inside on a treadmill. But if you can get outside and go for a walk, that's way better. Mentally, physically, it's just, you'll feel better.
No doubt.
And again, you get to get the fresh air, you feel better, you clear your head, but you're moving, and it's just gentle exercise. And it's a true fat burning exercise because it's done at a low enough intensity that your body is burning fat. It's not breaking down your muscles.
Nope.
It's actually active recovery. So like if you're sore from a workout that you did, a day or two before, that walking is actually helping to flush blood throughout the system and helping to aid the recovery process.
Yep.
You'll feel so much better afterwards. So that's still a go-to for me. But I remember like talking to some of my fellow competitors, talking about training routines and stuff. And they're like, well, how much cardio do you do? And I say, oh, I go for a walk every day. Oh, so you don't do cardio? No, I go for a walk every day. That's just walking. Come on, man. What are you doing for cardio? I'm like, like they would brush it off. Like that doesn't even count. It's just walking, right?
And you said, you saw my calves, right? That's what you said. You said,
right.
It obviously works because I have better calves than all you guys. It is. It's so underrated that people kind of brush it off like it's not even a thing. It's like, this might be the best form of cardio because you're not sprinters for you're a bodybuilder. You're trying to save your muscle. So all you're trying to do is have that slow burn and be nice to your joints. It's nice for your hips and your knees. It circulates blood. It aids in digestion. What else does it do? It helps your blood sugar to walk, and it's cortisol control. It's not high stress on your body.
It's a stress relief. I mean, the thing about a walk, like you feel better afterwards. Like you don't feel beat up after a walk. Right. Like if you went out running, for example, like, okay, your knees and your shins and your hips and all that, like you could feel the impact every time you stride. Walking, you don't get that.
That's right.
Right. Your joints feel good after a walk. Yeah. So, and again, it's free. It's easy. Like you don't need anything. You just a pair of sneakers and go.
Yep.
That's it. Right.
So underrated. Can't overemphasize the importance of it. Okay, so 3, I have this. To prioritize your protein and your fiber, which is obviously great for your muscle and your microbiome. Protein's a non-negotiable. Your body will not survive if you do not eat protein. Your whole body requires protein. Your muscles require amino acids from protein in order to even do anything, to perform, to grow, to recover. Everything is all about the protein. So lead with protein with every meal. Always like, where's my protein coming from here? But I also have fiber, because fiber, where's that coming from? That's coming from vegetables. That's coming from fruits. And guess what? You don't get fat when you eat fruits and vegetables. You don't. And the micronutrients that you get, the macros from the protein, but the micronutrients you get, that's all your vitamins and minerals.
Mm-hmm.
Those are huge. Those are what make you feel good.
Yeah. And it's all the enzymes. Like, that's where you're getting all your digestive enzymes and stuff too, where, throw the fruits and the vegetables. And protein by nature is very acidic, like meats and fish and chicken and all that kind of stuff is when your body breaks it down, digests it, it has that acidic nature to it. Fruits and vegetables are very alkaline. So when you have them together, it helps to balance that acid alkaline in the gut, right?
Great
so it helps
point.
create a better gut environment.
Great point. It's exactly right.
That's my go-to. Like, whenever I sit down to a meal, it's like your protein and your veggies. If you base your meals around that protein and veggies, like, you've got 80% of your nutrition covered. That alone. And then your carbohydrates is kind of like the wild card. Like, you could eat to match your activity level. Like, if I'm going to be very active today, okay, I'll have some more carbohydrates to fuel that activity. If this is going to be a low activity day, well, I don't need as many carbohydrates.
That's right.
I'm not going to be burning as many.
That's right.
But the protein and veg, that's got to be in there. Like, that's the foundation right there.
It really is. It should be 2/3 to 3/4 of your plate. Should be your protein, and like maybe you have broccoli, or you're having Brussels sprouts, or you're having peas or green beans, or whatever your vegetables are. That should be most of your plate, and then you just kind of add in those. As Lee said, don't be afraid of carbs. We're never saying I don't believe in elimination diets at all. Just be mindful of it. Like, if you're going to have a really active day, have a few extra carbohydrates so that you have a fair energy level, that you're supporting for the day. Or maybe you were just very active and you want to kind of fuel yourself and have a little extra rice or have an extra little potato or something that night. That's fine.
Yeah, it's. When you look at the nutrition side of things like that, we're seeing this more and more now with all these weight loss drugs, like the GLP-1, semaglutide, Ozempic variations, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm getting at?
Yep.
Because that shuts off your appetite. Like, that, now people are just not eating. So I was eating poorly, and now I'm just not eating. So I'm still not nourishing the body, right? I went from just eating my processed junk to now I'm just not eating much. And then when I do eat, it's probably still the same foods, just in much smaller portions. All right. So, but this is where we're seeing the muscle wasting, because now these drugs have been around long enough, and we're at a mass scale. We're seeing people, they're losing weight. We all know people who've lost 50 pounds on Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy or whatever the medication is. They've all lost 50 plus pounds, but then when you actually do the body composition, half of that came from lean muscle.
You lost all your lean muscle.
Right? So now if you go off that medication, you have less muscle on your frame, a slower metabolism. You're actually in worse shape now than you were when you were fatter.
Yep.
It's just like, it's a negative spiral. And I actually have some people who've reached out to me for one-on-one coaching in the gym. And this is exactly what I'm on Ozempic, and the doctor said, I have to work out, right? So that's why I'm reaching out to you to start working out, because he said, I have to work out and I have to eat protein. So we're starting to realize the importance of what we've been talking about all along, weight training and protein.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just did an episode earlier this year with Dr. Ron, a really good friend of mine, close friend of mine. And it was episode here. I want to try and tell everybody. I like to reference everybody to the right episode. Episode 419. It's called Peptides, GLPs, and Fat Loss with Dr. Ron Eccles. Great episode. Really good friend of mine. And he's awesome. And if you just want base level knowledge of what all that looks like and sounds like and smells like, Go listen to that episode. You'll learn a lot. I did. But it really does, and I harped on this in our conversation, it all starts with good lifestyle choices in conjunction with that stuff. And that's what he's a huge proponent of that. So he's not just like willy-nilly giving people these scripts to, here, do this injection and do that. Like, you got to be checking other boxes. And those things can work together effectively, and people can get great results. But it really does come down to like the sleep habits, the exercise habits. What are you eating? So, you got a lot of weight to lose, but you still got to eat, dude. Okay. You're not going to just starve yourself to health. It doesn't work that way. And so make some smart choices, get your lifestyle in check. And then maybe if you want that extra, you need to go on testosterone therapy, or you need to do these other things, and that's in the cards for you. But it can't just be your first choice, in my opinion, in terms of achieving optimal health. I just don't think that's where it's at. You got to go old school, right? You got to just start making some good choices. So I have two more things I think that are the secret weapon here with this blueprint, this anti-inflammation muscle blueprint. Next one is, we've already spent a lot of time talking about it, reduce your processed foods and your excess alcohol. So that's after we've talked about lifting, we've talked about walking, prioritizing protein and fiber, you got to reduce the processed foods, try to focus more on the whole foods, and cut out some of the drinking. Not all of it, but if it's daily, you need to moderate it.
I think that's a personal preference for a lot of people, because some people, depending on their personality and their tendencies, they need to go cold turkey, avoid it entirely, because if I remember a lot of my relatives, this was this kind of thing. When they'd pop open a bottle, like let's say they had a bottle of rum, they'd take the top off it and they'd throw the top away. They said, that's not going back on, because we're sitting to the table till this bottle is gone.
Oh my gosh.
Like that, a bunch of men sitting
hardcore
around. That was a common thing. Once the top was popped, they'd throw it away because we're drinking this sucker. Right. So if you can't moderate it, maybe we just don't pop the top.
Yeah. Maybe we just get away from it completely. Yeah. There is something to be said for that.
Right. So
it's like with smoking. It's like, probably just quit.
Smoke, right? Yeah. Like, can you just stop at one cigarette every now and then? Like, no, most people, it's just the chain reaction, if you will, right? They got to keep going. So some things they may need to shut it off. Alcohol is a bit unique in that sense, because it is that social lubricant, right? It absolutely is.
Sure.
Sometimes if you go out to a social event, like you go to a special dinner or a party or something, and someone offers you a drink and you literally have a drink or two, and then once you get back to your home base, like there's no alcohol in the house, you're not drinking all week long and everything else, and maybe it's only like once every 2 or 3 weeks that you actually have an alcoholic drink. If you can manage that, there's no problem with that. Like that's true moderate drinking. Right?
Absolutely.
I know the definition of moderate drinking is, what is it, like less than 2 a day or whatever it is. 2 or 3 a day is considered moderate, right?
For me, my definition is, I think if it doesn't have to happen on a daily basis.
There you go. Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes. And for me, it doesn't always have to come with multiples. Like, I can have a beer and I'm satisfied.
Right.
It doesn't have to be 3 or a whole 6-pack or whatever. Like, that's, people drink, I think, to get drunk, rather than just drinking to have maybe a little mild buzz or something. And I think and unfortunately what happens is, if you do it every day, it takes more alcohol to achieve the same place.
Sure.
So that's the trouble.
There's some little hacks around that too. Like, I mean, I do enjoy the taste of beer. I mean, I'm not a beer drinker, but sometimes I'll have a non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah, there's
like
an option.
If we go out to especially I don't.
They're more common. They're more common now than they ever were.
Most places, like you go to a restaurant, you go to a bar, you go anywhere. Like most places offer non-alcoholic options, so you can get your non-alcoholic beer, and a lot of them are really good.
Yeah, no, it tastes like beer. It'll fool a beer drinker.
Absolutely, right? I mean, like if you pour it up in a frosty mug, I mean, you wouldn't know the difference, right? So I mean, you can still have that sensation of having a beer with the boys,
Yeah.
but it's a non-alcoholic beer. So it's a better beer choice.
And you're fooling them too, because they forget. They just see you with the same mug with beer-looking substance in it. They're like, "Oh, he's drinking too. All right."
And most people nowadays, like especially I find like the older you get, the less of that peer pressure there is.
I agree.
When you're younger, there's a lot more. Like I remember buddies of mine, they'd be embarrassed to even drink light beer, let alone non-alcoholic. There was no non-alcoholic beer back then, but they didn't want to drink the light beer because they'd be considered.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. Look at this freaking wimp over here. He's having a 90-calorie ultra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
You got to drink the full meal deal, right? You got to have the real stuff.
That's hilarious. Beer snobs. I know.
Beer snobs. But
yeah, when you get older, that all kind of goes away.
Because I've suggested that to some of my coaching students, and they had that mental hang up. Like, what are people going to think of me if I order a non-alcoholic beer, or if I get a diet soda instead of a mixed drink or something? And they said that surprisingly, I did it at the work function or at the, the party, the holiday party or something. Nobody even noticed. Right? But they had this big internal, like,
Sure.
I got to drink.
Sure.
Right?
Wow.
Nobody gives it.
Hilarious. You're right. I agree with you. That's hilarious. That's good. Sometimes people just need to hear that,
Yeah.
Now, my last item on our blueprint list. You ready? And I've talked about it before. I just didn't want to give it away. Sleep. And sleep like it's a supplement. Your sleep is basically like that one extra amazing thing that you're doing for your muscles and for your mind that is free and costs you nothing. Costs you nothing to lay down and get a good 6 to 8 hour good night of sleep where you're not waking up, you're not tossing and turning. And I think the way to get there is, I would say by 8, make 8 o'clock kind of your time to say, all right, I got to stop eating. I got to stop drinking. And I really shouldn't even be even consuming too much water, because what happens with us when we get older, we wake up in the middle of the night going pee. And I'm not, So I do consume a lot of water, and I still will wake up probably between 2 and 4 a.m. just because to go. But I'd prefer not to. And, but I think that's your superpower. You're probably missing out on all that recovery and all that good, clear cognitive function that we all long for. We want to feel clear-headed and focused and sharp. And you're only going to get there when you sleep well. That's how you get there.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you there. And in my situation, I mentioned earlier how when I was going through a phase when my son Harvey was younger, and disrupted my sleep. Now we've come full circle. Now that he's older and he's going to school and he has a bedtime, that's actually been the best thing for my sleep, because now I model my sleep habits after his, because we want to get him to bed, usually around 8:30, somewhere around there. We want to get him into bed. You know the way it is. Sometimes it stretches out to 9 o'clock before.
Sure, of course.
Right?
I remember.
But anyway, when he gets to bed, then I'm going to start my bedtime routine right afterwards. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times my bedtime routine is done in parallel with his, because I say, like, Harvey, let's go brush our teeth, get ready for bed. Like, Harvey, let's go do all this stuff we got to do to get ready for bed. Like, let's put on our pajamas. Let's do this and that. So as he's doing it, like, I'm doing it with him to kind of coax him along.
Sure.
I'm already half ready for bed by the time he's in bed. So
it's great, isn't it?
And I just go through that routine. So it actually has helped me a lot. Yep. And because before him, I was a bit of a night owl. Like, I could be up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, back in the early days, like we were talking about at the beginning, when I was starting my website, sometimes I wouldn't even get fired up till like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I could be working on the computer.
That's right.
Till the wee hours.
That was the online
Oh,
power hour was like midnight to 3 was kind of like you hit your momentum and your stride. Isn't that funny?
It's crazy, but I did a lot of work in my younger days, burning the midnight oil, literally. And but now I've switched that around. So like 10 o'clock, like I'm ready for bed.
Yeah. No, it's good. And I know sometimes I fight it. I fight it because I want my me time, even though like I'm ready. I'm like falling asleep, like scrolling or watching a show or whatever. I got a cat laying on me. I got a dog next to me, whatever, and I'm just like fighting for my time, just me in my house while everybody else is asleep, but my body's telling me, dude, you're done. You're good. Like, go to bed. And then if you wake up before your alarm, good for you. You know, go for a longer walk in the morning when you get up or something, you know, do something extra with that time, that bonus time. But so I'll say this in closing. I'll say that strength training after 40 isn't optional. And I think Lee's probably in total agreement with that. I think it's the foundation for staying sharp, for staying lean, for staying capable, and staying resilient for the next 40 or 50 years of your life. And it's a non-negotiable. And look what you can do as Lee's client, who's doing 2 sessions a week right now of strength training for about an hour and a half each. In 3 hours a week, this guy's getting results. After 2 years, he's lost, 30 plus pounds, you said.
Without dieting.
Without changing his nutritional habits. But he probably has altered them to some degree just because of, as you said, the side effect of training is that you make better choices.
Yeah. Because that was one of the things, like, when he came on board working with me, I said, like, hey, I can set you up, training, nutrition, the whole works. And he's like, I don't want that. He says, like, I don't want to go on a diet. He was very upfront. He said, but I do want to start working out. And I said, fine, let's do what you want to do. We'll focus on the workouts. But it's just like you said, as a side effect of working out consistently. Now, he's not drinking as much. He's making better food choices. Again, I'm not saying he's perfect, but it's better than he was before. And as a side effect, I mean, again, he's lost 30 pounds of pure body fat while building muscle in the process. And again, like we can see I got his training journal, like his lifts have more than doubled over the last 2 years. So like strength's gone up, muscle's gone up, body fat's gone down, just health and overall positivity and outlook on life is.
How old is this guy?
He's 36.
Okay, so he's right in
that prime.
He's right. It's a great age to get a hold of that for yourself. He's setting himself up for a lifetime of success, really, frankly, because some people wait too long. They wait until they're really feeling pretty lethargic and crappy and whatever into their 40s. And then they're like, now you got to really work hard to try and fight for that youth again. He's at that perfect age where he's creating all those good habits now, strengthening his bones and his muscles so that, once he gets into his 40s and 50s, he's surging and that momentum is strong and you're setting yourself up to feel good into your 60s and 70s. I don't want to, you and I, we want to feel like strong men functioning independent as we get older. I want to be the guy that people marvel at and they're like, you're 70? I want people to like look at me and be like, no way. That's that's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, I don't want to be there any day soon. I'd rather be in my 40s, but here I am at 50. But, I'm fighting for that youth. And the only way I think to do it is to focus on that strength side of things, which just catapults me into all these other good decisions. So I love, by the way, I didn't even bring it up. I love that you're wearing the strength psychology
I
t-shirt.
know, I still kept that. So, this is a
phenomenal, dude.
That's what we're talking about today, basically.
Well, you kind of are in this like side a side effect of everything we've said is like this strength psychology program of ours from that was
that's an old one.
10 years ago. I think we released that with Mike Gillette, Strength Psychology. And anyone listening, go check it out. It's actually a great program. Mike is just a brilliant guy. And we had so much fun making that. We ended up making real life self-defense with him afterwards, which was also kind of a mindset thing, but then for the average man or woman to defend themselves physically if they were ever attacked or in a very life-threatening situation. We created the real life self-defense program. It was kind of like the evolution of strength psychology. And but that's so neat. I don't even have that shirt anymore, dude.
No?
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Lee,
occasions.
A special occasion today is that a special occasion indeed. The third time on Strong by Design, dude. You're a wealth of knowledge. I really enjoyed just catching up with you and having a fun conversation that I know will benefit all the guys listening, and even some of the ladies out there maybe can share this with their hubbies or a boyfriend or whatever, and maybe get them kind of thinking about some of these things, and certainly some eye openers and some great nuggets of information today. So I just thank you for making all this time for us, and such a pleasure.
Well, you're welcome, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and there will probably be a fourth episode. Who knows?
I'm sure there will be. Hey, where can people go watch, your latest stuff? Like, obviously your YouTube channel mentioned that, but then anything else that you want people to go to?
If people just search for Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding, they'll find me. I'm on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I have a podcast of my own. So I'm on all the major podcast platforms. It's Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding.
That's right.
You search for that, it'll pop up there in all the different platforms.
Phenomenal, dude. Well, I mean, you look like you're going backwards in age. I mean, I think you look younger than when I saw you here last.
Right.
So that's always a good sign.
It is a good sign. Absolutely.
Yeah. Harvey's keeping you young. That's what it is.
It is.
That's awesome.
It goes to show, I mean, like, the consistency compounds, right? The nutrition, the training, the exercise, the lifestyle. I mean, it does compound.
Yep.
And it's interesting you mentioned that, because sometimes when I run into people that I went to high school with, for example, and I see them like at the grocery store, at the shopping center or whatever, and like, really? Like, whoa, like, dude, you look like you're in your 60s, Right?
Really? People think that when they see you?
Oh, no. Like, I think that when
you're thinking that of them.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like,
it is alarming when you see people sometimes.
See how most people have aged or overweight now and stuff like that. It's quite shocking. Like,
it is.
I remember this happened not too long ago. I was at the grocery store, and a guy said, "Hey, Lee, how you doing?" And I turned around and looked at him, and I was just like looking at him like, who the hell are you? I didn't say that out loud. I said, hi. Sure. And then he started talking, and I said, I recognize that voice. And then sure enough, I linked it up who it was. It was like an old buddy of mine from high school, but like, he had aged so much. Like, I literally did not recognize him.
Isn't it something, dude?
He was around 300 pounds and heavy, and
I'll tell you what. Yeah. If you let yourself go, obviously, obese, and or are an excessive drinker or smoker, those things will add literally decades to you. And vice versa. If you are really good at managing those things and overcoming those things, not letting them take hold of you, you can look decades younger sometimes than, and we've all come across that person who's like 60, but they look like they're still in their 40s because their energy level is like great, and they maybe still got their hair or whatever, and they care about their physical health to the point where it just takes root of everything in their life. And just mentally sharper and everything else. So, yeah, I mean, do it for just that reason alone. You feel mentally sharper when you're more physically active. And we didn't even harp on that all that much, but I think that's just the beautiful side effect of, Lee cycling and lifting weights and doing all this stuff and playing with his 9-year-old son. He's got probably as much energy now as he's ever had, because he's still making activity, super important in his life. So anyway, this was just an absolute blast. I know people are going to get a lot out of it, and they'll go check out your platforms and listen to your podcast. You started it not that long ago, correct?
Oh, it's just last year I started it. So we're 50 episodes in now.
Awesome, dude. So that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, just such a pleasure. And listeners, we just thank you for supporting the Strong by Design podcast and for coming back and supporting our good friend Lee. And I'll probably have broken this one up into a two-parter because we like talking so much. So I probably this will be the conclusion of part 2 at this point after us yammering on and on. But I think just so much good, helpful information. And please share this with a friend or a family member who could benefit from everything we've talked about today. And we'll be back next time on Strong by Design. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.